For this session, we're going to be doing some collage, which is one of my favourite techniques. And to do collage, you need to just go around the house and find some old wrapping paper, some fabrics if you want to, newspapers and magazines. I'm going to flick through this paper I've got here, this magazine, and you'll see it's a mixture of photographs, different typesets, different colours. So what you need to do is just to go through the magazine and just rip out some pages that you like, particularly the colours and the images. But I wouldn't get too involved with the images themselves. It's more the colours and the textures. Don't not use type, because the type, say this type here that I'm showing you, it's on a really beautiful bright yellow background, and you're not going to be looking at the words, but the type itself creates quite a nice texture. So the first technique I'm going to show you is using scissors, and I've cut, this is the page I've been looking at, very strong. You can see there's figures in here. The predominant colours are grey, black, red and white. So I've just gone straight in with my scissors. I've cut some shapes and I'm going to stick those into my composition. Now this composition I did earlier on, it's a continuous line drawing of things I found in the kitchen. I've used a fine liner to draw it. There's lots and lots of overlapping shapes. If you want to, you can do any image you like. It could be a face, it could be an animal, and it's entirely up to you, obviously. So choose some colours you like, get cutting, and then I've got two lots of glue here. This is a glue stick, which is very easy to use, and this is PVA, which is one of my favourites. So if you're lucky enough to have PVA, you can. I use a paintbrush. Just remember, if you're using a brush, always to wash it out, because if you leave the PVA in the brush will dry and you won't be able to use it again. It will just dry hard. So you can get glue, little sticks to use. I'm using a brush. I'm putting my bit of collage material in there like that. With the PVA, you can work over the top of it because it dries clear. So basically you're sort of building up colours and textures. The jug here, I've started to put in little pieces of cut. See, it's little bits of text on this grey background. But I can do lots of overlapping. So as I build it up, you can see it becomes like a sort of grey textured background like that. It's really good fun till it sticks on your fingers, and it sticks everywhere. Right, there we go. The glue stick works exactly the same way. It's much easier to put the glue, I find it easier putting the glue down first and then the bits on top of it, rather than the other way around. Trying to put glue on tiny bits of paper can be a bit fiddly. So now I'm adding more grey to this. Got these very strong, sharp shapes. So it's sort of taking now, starts to take shapes. You've sort of got the darker tone this side, and the lighter tone this side. Going back to, I'm now going to cut into some of, it's very hard to cut an exact shape. So if I was going to, for instance, try and make that, you have to sort of try and, if you want the whole thing in the same paper, you have to sort of match it up, but just be prepared unless you trace it. You're sort of doing it by eye, trying to get it the right shape, and sometimes it's quite nice to do where it doesn't fit, because then you can add another slice of something to give it a sort of different dimension. So here I've gone back to my PVA. I could then put in a little bit of the red in here. like that. And then I've even got a bit of sort of crossword here, which is quite nice. That could go, I might put more of that on this sort of bowl-like cup shape. Like that. Now you can see it's overlapped, so you just have to sort of tuck your scissors underneath and just trim it up. The beauty of it being on the glue, you can sort of slide it around. And then, now this is quite interesting. This is the negative shape of when I cut that. And I quite like when you get things like that. It's sort of like a happy accident. So I'm going to use that, and maybe it will be like a slight sort of outline for my jug in there. So I'm going to pop that in there. Can you see that? So that's the negative shape of the what I put into the spoon. So the idea is, so that's sort of using scissors, building up. I might just try and, that's going to annoy me. Just cut that little tiny bit off there. There we go. So it's a nice way of working, and you, as I say, you can put the glue over the top or the glue stick. Sort of building up colours, and you can use a very limited palette, in which this is what I'm doing. I'm doing my reds, my blacks, my whites, my yellows, but you can see the type works really, really well there. So that's using scissors, and you can go, I mean, you can go really tiny. For instance, if I wanted to do the bottom, the handle here, you could go really small if you're someone that likes working small. And build up like this with tiny, tiny bits. You get quite a nice effect there as well. So that's collage using a pair of scissors with just literally a few bits of magazine pages. But as I say, you can use newspaper, and you can draw out any image you like. So it's a lovely way of working. You don't need a lot of resources, so have a go. It's really good fun.